Welcome to the Chase and Embrace Show, where we interview women who are chasing God and embracing His purpose for her life, with the hopes to encourage you to do the thing that God is calling you to do. Hey everyone, welcome to the Chase and Embrace Show, and I'm super excited to have our second in the series of our Saboteurs with Krystina Dixon with Breathe Life Coaching. And I am so excited to find out who it is today. Who is that Saboteur?
It is the controller.
Oh, wow. I'm excited to hear all about the controller. I'm sure I have that.
Well, last week we talked about the judge. And the
Yeah.
reality is when you say you have that, we all have these saboteurs. It's just a matter of to what degree we have them and which ones tend to dominate. So just as I said with the judge, all of these saboteurs, they come from a protective part of our survival being, and they are based upon certain core values. They're trying to protect and provide certain core values. Those are often our strengths. So with the controller, the core value, what really matters to the controller is safety, stability. You'll even see it in leadership. And this is the kind of woman who becomes really competent and dependable. As a child, she might be the one that is very compliant to some extent, that she's compliant but independent at the same time. Teachers usually love these kids. Parents brag about them. And so she gets recognition that reinforces this idea that control is safety. It equates to safety. Responsibility equals love. If she lets go, she's dropping the ball. She's not holding her end of the deal up. So the other thing is, all of the saboteurs come from, every single one of us has it. So even if you come up in a household that's very stable and loving and kind, and you have devoted parents and there's no trauma at all, it's still, we have these coping skills put into place, these survival skills that are fully developed by the time we're 5 years old. And we all have them regardless of background. Now, trauma can influence those. However, you do not have to come from a traumatic background to have something like the controller.
Okay.
And essentially what happens is, like a scenario. Let me give you a scenario. Say you have a family, 2 parents in the home, both working, 3 kids. She's the oldest of 3, and she needs some help tying her shoe. And mom or dad is just really busy, distracted. And she doesn't want to burden them anymore. And they're like, can't you figure it out? Can you help me with this? Can you do this? And they just kind of put a lot of responsibility on her. That is the type of woman who gets rewarded for being self-sufficient. And so she equates that to approval, to acceptance, and to love. So she seeks that out as an adult, but it comes when it's controlled. It helps her organize, lead committees, initiate projects, things like that. So when it's controlled, it's her strength. It's very helpful to her. When it runs rampant and it is not controlled, that's when it starts to tell her lies. And some examples of the lies that it might tell her is, if you don't take over, everything will fall apart. You can't trust anyone else to get this right. No one's going to care as much as you do. If you don't stay on top of it, you'll regret it. Letting go means failure. You have to keep it together. There's no room for mistakes. You'll have time to rest when everything is done, but we know it's never done.
Right.
Yeah. So
Sounds
basically,
like
she's
every woman business entrepreneur I know.
It's very common. It's very common. Also, you'll see it a lot in single moms, because single moms have to be in control. They have to be on top of things. They have to be responsible. And so the accomplishment that comes with it, the approval that comes with it, there's this expectation of the same level of success for a single mom as there is for a married mom when it comes to juggling all the things in life. And so you see it very commonly in single moms as well. But essentially what's happening is she's trying to outrun this fear that she has by controlling the outcomes. And that feels safer than surrendering. It's tried and true. It's what's worked for her. It's reliable. It's dependable. There's no surprises.
What's the fear? What do they, just that everything's going to fall apart?
So the fear that typically drives a controller, there's a few of them. It's usually something along the lines of simply losing control, and the chaos that could ensue, right? Being vulnerable, being disappointed or betrayed, fear of failure. If she doesn't take care of it, it won't get done. You might see this too, and say you have a child or a woman who, as a child, mom has to go to the hospital and she has to stay the night. That can trigger like an abandonment kind of thing in a child. And so she thinks she has to survive. So what she says is, I don't want to lose my mom, so I'm going to control everything. I'm going to make sure I've thought of every possible scenario, and I'm going to take that burden on and make sure that everybody's safe. So when it is out of control and it is motivated by fear and it is not serving her, it tends to create burnout, disconnection, tension in relationships. As in the workplace, it might look like micromanaging. In more intimate relationships or family relationships, it looks like distrust. She's absolutely exhausted from doing everything herself. And what can happen too is we can step into isolation. A lot of people don't like to feel like they're being controlled. So if your controller saboteur is very strong and you tend to kind of become a dictator, people don't want to be around that. So they pull away, they isolate from that. And that then puts the individual into like a situation of isolation that is very unhealthy. Anxiety is another thing that you'll see. Because the reality is we only think we have control. We do not have control. It is an illusion.
We don't.
All you have is anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bible does say, don't think about tomorrow, just look today. Tomorrow will think of itself. And It's really super hard to do, but it is, once you train yourself to do that, it's really freeing because it's like you want to propel into the future and like all the, oh, well, what if, but so much can change in that time period, good, bad, indifferent, that if you just think of today, it just helps. But like you said, it can also compel you forward if it's healthy, but it can also lead you into anxiety really badly if you don't. So it takes a lot of I think reading scripture just kind of helps all of that. Personally, that's me. That helps me.
I agree. And what you do see in the controller sometimes, though, is that mentioning the spirituality part of it and the religious part of it, is that there isn't always, but there can be a disconnect spiritually because she finds it very, very difficult to surrender to anyone. Yes. So surrendering and being susceptible to the chaos, to the unknown, which she is anyway, but accepting that is very difficult for her. But there is hope. It is possible. There are strategies, techniques to use that do help her learn to trust without having to control, without that fear. She can trust God. She can trust people, even if she's not real sure what the outcome's going to be.
Right. Sometimes you just have to practice that you have to practice at being uncomfortable.
Yes. Anytime we are growing, we should be uncomfortable. That's where the growth happens. Yeah.
Right. And so if you let go just a little bit, of that control, then you're uncomfortable, but you're growing.
And you'll find that your relationships are stronger, they're deeper, they're more authentic. People aren't engaging with you out of fear of you. They're engaging with you out of a desire to have a relationship with you and to have that transaction.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other thing that she struggles with is that when you live in this world of needing to be in control, what happens when things don't go your way? Yeah. So that's where that anxiety comes in. And then now we have no peace.
Right. Well, I'm wondering if they have peace anyway, even in controlling everything. They probably really don't have a lot of peace.
Yes. The lie that the saboteur will tell you is that you are at peace when you are in control. But the reality is you are not.
Yes. because really you can't control anything. But yeah, it's very interesting that I'm talking about, I know somebody who, she's a mother of 6 kids. She's a nurse at a high school, and she used to always just want to talk to everybody and help everybody. And she's kind of isolating right now. And so I'm wondering if this isn't part of one of her issues, is that she's kind of has an overactive controller.
Well, what's really interesting with the saboteurs is context can dictate which saboteurs are prominent in any given situation, too. Mm-hmm. So there's another one we'll talk about at some point called the avoider, and that can also lead to isolation.
Okay.
So it's really about context and figuring out kind of your normal coping strategies. Because remember, like I said, these are all developed by the time we're 5 years old. At 40, 45, 50, I don't need a 5-year-old brain.
No, we can hope we grow from that, right? Yeah, it's very interesting. I worked with a lot of homeless individuals who had major trauma growing up. And so a lot of them have started using substance abuse at a very young age to escape. And they found that that was the escape from the abuse, the physical, emotional, mental, all of it. And so it's interesting that a lot of their coping skills are at that level when they started using drugs because they didn't cope with the issues that they had. And so coming off the substance, the numbing, a lot of the times they would struggle a lot, and they would have like these, temper tantrums like a 12-year-old would have. But and then a lot of them would go back to using because that was more comfortable at that time. But the thing is if they can keep taking that step forward, then they can grow emotionally and get all of these saboteurs under healthy control, becoming more healthy. And I have seen so many amazing women make that step, and men make that step, and just the positivity that's in their life now is truly amazing, and they're helping others go through the same thing. And so, we just gotta, anybody that's out there that's listening that has a lot of anxiety, there are reasons for that anxiety. And some of them are these saboteurs, and some of them are your past experiences, but there are techniques and things that you can do to move above and beyond that way of life, that style of living, because it's not happy. And you can find help, and Krystina is that person that can help you if you allow her to. So I just I just love your wisdom. God has given you so much wisdom. And is there anything else that we need to know about this controlling saboteur?
Essentially, if you stick with it and we walk through all of the saboteurs, you'll see how they work together, how they contradict each other. In the end, the judge, the one we started with, is there for all of it. And you were mentioning addiction. Quite often, addiction is kind of, I would say, comorbid with shame. There's a lot of shame, and the judge is the shame master. So people that suffer with substance use usually have a very, very strong judge and very strong saboteurs.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is hope. There is techniques. There is a way out to not have to live that way. And that is why we are partnering together, Chase and Embrace, with Krystina at Breathe Life Coaching, because I truly feel like there are people out there that need to hear this, that need help, and there is a way to get that help. And Krystina's your girl, and we will put her contact information in the description of this. So please reach out with her, even if it's just to ask a question. She will truly help you. You can follow her on Facebook. She does Facebook Lives. And yeah, I just truly think that you are an amazing person. And I just really love that we're doing this. And so we will tune in next week for the next one. And I can't wait to hear what that one is, because every time we have one of these, I myself learn a little bit more about somebody I know, or the judge. That was huge. So we'll also link the judge in the description as well if you guys want to go see the judge.
Well, thank you so much for this time. I appreciate it. All the glory goes to God, and I'm so grateful for our partnership.
Yeah, me too. God bless you. We'll see you next week.
Blessings.